Canaan has become a graveyard of failed harvests. A relentless famine has scorched the region, leaving Jacob's family with no clear path to survival. Across the border, Egypt has spent years preparing for this exact crisis. Their landscape is dominated by these orderly rows of massive storage vaults, a centralized infrastructure designed to keep an entire empire fed while its neighbors starve. With the situation in Canaan reaching a breaking point, Jacob orders 10 of his sons to journey south and buy grain. However, he keeps his youngest, Benjamin, behind. Still haunted by the loss of his favorite son years earlier, Jacob refuses to risk the only piece of that memory he has left. This isn't a simple supply run. A family defined by internal trauma and secrets is stepping out of their isolation and heading straight into the geopolitical center of the world. When the brothers arrive, they find themselves lost in a sea of refugees, funneled through the towering shadows of Egyptian administration for life-saving rations. They are eventually brought before the governor, the man with absolute authority over the grain. The brothers immediately drop to their knees, pressing their faces to the dust in total submission to his power. The man staring down at them is Joseph, the very brother they betrayed and sold into slavery 20 years ago. Joseph recognizes them instantly, but instead of a reunion, he chooses to maintain his disguise. Speaking through a translator, he uses a harsh, aggressive tone to see how these men will react when cornered. The brothers believe they are negotiating for their lives with a stranger. In reality, they have walked directly into a trap set by the one person who knows exactly how they operate. Joseph immediately puts them on the defensive. He ignores their request for food and instead formally accuses them of being foreign spies sent to map out Egypt's vulnerabilities. The accusation works. Terrified of being executed, the brothers start volunteering their entire family history to prove they are just true men. In their panic, they offer up the very information Joseph is looking for. They reveal that they are 12 brothers in total, that one is no more, and that the youngest is currently safe at home with their father. Joseph now has confirmation. Benjamin is alive. To see if they are telling the truth, Joseph escalates. He has all 10 men seized and thrown into a holding cell for 3 days, leaving them to sit in silence and wonder if they will ever see their homes again. On the 3rd day, he offers them a way out. They must leave one of their brothers, Simeon, behind in chains as collateral. The rest must go back to Canaan and return with Benjamin to prove their story. Joseph is recreating the exact conditions of his own disappearance. He is forcing these men to decide if they are willing to abandon another brother to save their own skins, or if they have finally found a limit to what they will do to survive. Inside the prison, the brothers are reaching a breaking point. They are hundreds of miles from Jacob's protection, facing a governor intent on their destruction. Their first instinct isn't to blame the governor, but themselves. They tell each other that this is happening because of what they did to Joseph, how they watched him beg for mercy and did nothing. Reuben, the eldest, reminds them that he tried to stop them from sinning against the boy. He tells them plainly, the debt for Joseph's blood is being collected. Joseph hears every single word of this. He listens as they acknowledge a crime they thought was buried forever, and he has to turn his back to the room so they won't see him weep. The brothers' immediate leap from an accusation of spying to a confession of kidnapping shows their past hasn't gone anywhere. The moment they lose control of their circumstances, the guilt they've carried for 2 decades rushes back to the surface. As the brothers prepare to leave, Joseph issues a secret order to his staff. He has them take the silver the brothers used to pay for the grain and hide it back inside the mouth of each sack. When they stop for the night, one brother opens his sack to feed his donkey and finds the money staring back at him. To an innocent man, this might look like a mistake or a gift. To these men, it feels like an indictment. They tremble as they ask each other what God is doing to them, convinced that this unearned money is actually a piece of evidence that will be used to hang them. Finding this silver removes their last sense of agency. They are no longer just travelers buying food. They are subjects of an invisible, terrifying judgment they cannot predict or control. The brothers return to Canaan only to find themselves trapped between a famine and a grieving father. They explain the governor's demands to Jacob. They have the food, but they had to leave Simeon behind, and they can never go back for more grain unless they bring Benjamin with them. Jacob's response is a flat, desperate refusal. He tells them they have already bereaved him of 2 sons, and he will not allow Benjamin to step foot on the road to Egypt. This creates a tragic deadlock. To keep the family from starving, they have to hand over the one person Jacob has spent his life protecting. Every choice they have left carries a devastating cost. The brothers have managed to secure the grain they need to survive the drought, but they have returned home more broken than when they left. They have learned that while a man can cross borders to escape a famine, his conscience travels with him.